This is my Hobie PA 14360 drive, and my honest opinion, I think this kayak sucks. Hi, my name is Armando. Welcome to the channel, and on this video, we're going to be talking about the Hobie PA lineup, why I think it sucks, and why I still believe it's one of the best kayak models out on the market, and why I will continue to fishing out of this platform for the foreseeable future, or at least until something better comes along. If you're a Hobie PA owner, you might want to watch this video. We're going to be talking also a few tips that'll help you avoid the common deficiencies, problems that have plagued this lineup. And if you're looking to get into a new kayak, you might want to watch this video and get more information before you decide. So let's get into it. First of all, let's talk about why I consider that this PA lineup sucks. Well, for the most part, it's because it suffers from several common problems. And those are the key words right there. Several meaning more than one problem, and common meaning it's not just a one-off. If you own one of these kayaks, if you buy one of these kayaks, it's very likely that you're going to have to deal with some of these problems or deficiency. Now, let's go over each one of the most common problems. Now, one of the most common problems or complaints on the PA lineup is the 360 drive. Previous generations, or the first generation of the 360 drive, used to have plastic bearings and it had a reputation for breaking easily. I actually own one of the first PA 360 drives that came out, and I actually ended up busting that drive. Now, in all fairness to Hobie, I smashed it on a rock pile on the back end of a wave where I drop about 2 or 3 feet into shallow rock pile. It was still good enough to get me all the way to the boat ramp, but eventually I had to get it replaced. Now, to be honest, I don't care what kayak drive I was using, whether it was an Old Town PDL or any model out there. If I would have smashed it the way I smashed that 360 drive, more than likely would have broken itself. So I'm not going to hold it against it, but the fact remains that it used to have plastic bearings, and it did cause a lot of problems across the board. A lot of people complained about it. Now, in my experience, once I took it to the dealer where it wasn't even the dealer where I bought the kayak, it was another dealer. Once I took it to them, they took a picture of it, sent it to Hobie headquarters. 3 days later, I got a brand new 360 drive. So didn't cost me anything. No complaints there. Since then, Hobie has really re-engineered that drive, and the newer drives no longer have that problem in my experience. Now, I've talked to several Hobie PA 360 owners and some of the people that are actually in the Hobie fishing team. And with the new drive, I have not heard anybody complain about the drive breaking or busting or not working. The other problem that I commonly see with the PA, especially the 360 drive, is the drive belt itself. Now, the drive belt that turns a 360 drive is a rubber belt. Now, that rubber belt with changing temperatures and wear and tear, it would tend to stretch out. When it started stretching out, it get loose, and once you started turning it, it would end up folding on itself over time and end up breaking. That was a common problem, and it kind of is still a common problem, but older models, 2023 and older, you really couldn't do anything about it. There was no way to adjust the belt. Once that happened, and it probably was going to happen, you would just have to get it replaced. Again, it's a low-cost part, no questions asked. For the most part, they'll just send you a new belt, and you get it in a couple of days, less than a week. They'll install it usually at no charge. But it is still a problem and a nuisance you had to deal with. Now, on the 2024 models, which is the XR, that problem has kind of been dealt with. It still has that rubber belt, but now on the drive itself, there's a little tension knob. And that tension knob goes from like 0 to 5. So what that knob is, once over time and through wear and tear, your drive belt starts stretching, you can readjust it by adding more tension to it. So if you are using your 360 drive, after a while, you notice it's not turning like it used to, just dial 1 or 2 notch and it'll stretch out that rubber band belt and it should start working fine. The other deficiencies have to do with their actual hull. The hull tends to crack, and there's three main places. Two of those are underneath the seat, the support. The most common one used to be on the front side of your seat. The support on the front side, the hull will crack or used to crack. I had that problem myself. Same thing. I took it to the dealer. About a week and a half later, I had a brand new hull, no cost to me. So got that fixed. Now with the 2024 model, though the new hull comes with this plastic inserts to support the front legs of your seat. So that problem has been taken care of. So that's 3 out of 3 problems that Hobie has addressed in the 2024 models. The next two, unfortunately, still are having issues. And now is the back end of your seat. The support on the back end of your seat does not have those plastic inserts to add extra support. So we're seeing a lot of the Hobie PAs, not just the 360, but also the Pro Anglers 180, having cracks on the back end of the hull where it supports the seats. Now, there's a way for you to try to minimize those deficiencies. First of all, when you go out on your kayak, every now and then, make it a practice to periodically look inside the hull and see if the foam that supports those areas are still in place. There's about 10 or so blocks of foam that support the seating and standing area. Unfortunately, they're kind of independent from each other. So if you are out there on, choppy seas, or if you are trailing your kayak, you're going through rough roads, those blocks tend to move or dislodge from their position and no longer supporting that area. So every now and then, just take a moment, look inside your hull, see that everything is where it's supposed to be. If you see that a block that moved, just lodge it back into place. There's a couple of companies out there that do sell the support for the seats. Now, that is an extra cost to you if you don't want to go through that. And honestly, you shouldn't after spending almost $6,000 on a kayak. And that's one of the reasons why I say it sucks, because when you're spending $6,000 on a kayak, you don't expect to be dealing with this kind of problems. And that sucks. But another way you can do it is try to avoid, every time you sit back down on your kayak, to just flop back in your seat. If you do own a Hobie PA, when you sit down, just take a hold of your armrest and gently just sit back down like you would do in a normal chair. That avoids putting that impact strain on the back side of your seat and causing it to crack. Again, it's not ideal, but try to keep that in practice. A third area where you see a lot of cracks on the Hobie PA lineup is actually on the back end of your kayak. Now, if you notice on the back end of your kayak, you're going to see on each side a couple of screws or Phillips screws in there. That is actually holding the lever or the pulley for the rudder and the skeg. So what happens is when you are unloading or loading your kayak, you're pulling on those tension cords to lift the rudder and the skeg, and then you're clamping them. Those cords are now in high tension, and when you leave your kayak stored for several days or several weeks and there's changes in temperatures, the plastic will expand and contract with the changes of temperature. That is very common on any kayak. However, with those tension cords being stretched to the limit, what it does, it creates more tension on the plastic, and inevitably over time, it's going to create a hairline crack in those areas. So a way to avoid that is when you store your kayak, as soon as you put it down wherever it's going to spend the day, the night, and the week of the month, just disengage or unclamp those tension cords. That way it won't create tension on those pulleys and it won't lead to these stress cracks over time. Now, that is some of the most common problems or deficiencies with the PA lineup. Why do I still believe that this is one of the best kayaks out there, and why do I keep fishing out of this kayak and will continue to fish out of this kayak for the foreseeable future? Well, first of all, because Hobie does have some great customer service. For the most part, if you have any problems with your drive, if you have any problems with your hull, they will replace it, and they will replace it on a timely fashion. That has been my experience, and talking to some of the people that have dealt with similar deficiencies and have had to apply for warranty, they've had the same experience where just maybe less than a week, they already have a new kayak. So that actually does increase the value on your kayak. For example, if you've been using your kayak 2 or 3 years and now you want to sell it and buy a new one, well, guess what? If you had your hull replaced after 2 years, you're going to have a brand new hull. If you do buy a used PA, you can still have it warranted as long as you have the receipt for the sale. So if you decide you're going to buy it on First Marketplace, talk to whoever's selling it, make sure they give you the receipt. As long as you have the receipt, you can, and you need to, for whatever reason, need to apply for warranty, Hobie's going to ask for that receipt. It doesn't have to be under your name. You just have to show them the receipt. So that is one reason why although it's a nuisance to have to deal with it, I am not too worried, because again, I am probably going to be replaced in a timely fashion, and I am going to end up, worst case scenario, with a brand new kayak, which later on I can sell at a higher price than I would have if I would have sold my original kayak. The other thing is the 360 drive. If you're never gone on a 360 drive, I can honestly tell you it is a game changer. And I don't use that word lightly. And I say game changer because it actually changes the way I fish. Having the freedom of a 360 drive, being able to turn on a dime, go in reverse, get out of tight places without having to make a U-turn, does help out a lot. And it opens up more space for me to fish, and fish quicker, because I can get in and out of places quicker. So for me, that is well worth it. 360 drive is far and away, even with the past issues, far and away the best drive out there. Now, I do have a motor on my kayak. I have one NK180 Pro on the back of my kayak. That's usually to get me from one side of the lake to the other. Once I'm in the area that I'm going to fish, then I like to use my 360 drive, because it gives me more control of where I'm turning to, how fast I'm turning to, and how fast or how slow I want to fish. The other thing is the hull design or deck design on the PA. Honestly, you see a lot of manufacturers from other companies every year, every 2 years, they come with the new improved kayak or new version, and it's because they're constantly trying to improve their hull. Or actually, if you look at the PA14 or the PA12, there's not a lot of room for improvement. It is the perfect platform. And I would also include the Hobie Outback, which is my first Hobie that I absolutely love. The design on the deck, it makes it so easily to customize your kayak. It makes it so easily to fit into what your needs are and the way you fish. It has a lot of deck space. It has a lot of standing room place. It is a very, very stable kayak. That's one of some of the reasons why I still fish out of PA14. So I hope this video gives you a little bit more information, more light in what is an honest opinion of what the PA lineup is for me, and what are some of the features that I love and I hate about this PA. So if you like this video, feel free to share, like, and subscribe. Thank you for watching, everyone. Peace out.